It looks like we are live, or at least that's what it says. We have been horrible the last month or so about doing the podcast. So when I say we, I mean me. I think one night Eli did one without me, but I've been traveling. I did 2 weeks in Honduras, and then I've been back a little over a week. And so we were going to get back on a regular schedule. You guys can let us know if you want to do 6 or 7 o'clock, but I think Tuesday night is the night we don't have our Taekwondo or youth group and different things like that. So we've got option of Tuesday night or Friday night. And so for right now, we're going to go either 7 or 8 o'clock Tuesday night. But we have a Legacy Farms Coffee 200 is Facebook, Legacy Farms Coffee 2010 is Instagram, and Legacy Farms Coffee is Facebook. So we're going to do better about posting pictures and stuff. My, whatever that is, Google Drive, where I store my pictures, we've been having trouble with that. So we're going to try to do better. I think we only had 2 customer questions this week. One of them was about subscriptions. We do subscriptions. We don't have a base price because we don't do that many. We've got maybe 4 or 5 a month that we do, and it'll depend on where you're located. But doing a subscription makes a lot of difference in the pricing and things like that. We don't do that on green coffee. We just would do it on roasted coffee. So if you're interested in that, just send us an email at Legacy Farms Coffee, Hotmail, or you can email us through the website, either one. And that's contact or Ashley at legacyfarmscoffee.com. The other customer question was, when are the green coffees going to be here? Normally we say July. I don't know if it's the 1st or last of July, but that's generally how it forms up. Although Anna did send me an email and said that she's finished the last big lot. So I actually bought some coffee this year from my friend Herbert. So we're waiting to see how many bags that's going to be, but it should be about 15 exportable bags, which would be 2,250 pounds of green coffee. It'll be Perinema, Lempira, and Noventa. There'll be 3 different varieties. 2 of those varieties I already have. But mostly we use the Noventa and Lempira that he sends or that I buy from him. Those will be 82-point coffees. We'll use those for our flavoring. We are going to buy some Brazilian coffee this year to do with our flavoring in. We're going to just go get 20 pounds of it this week and roast and sort of see how that works out. But according to how long it takes, I'm really hoping to get the coffee here the very first week of July, because Ted and I, name's Eli, are going to head for 2 weeks to Honduras. We've got a mission team coming up. It's going to be the most awesomest mission trip in the world.
Probably,
It's the group that I came with June 1998. They've been coming every year except for COVID they missed. So that makes 26 years, but technically 25 mission trips. So they'll be coming this year. And some of these, about half of them, are the second generation of the kids that came. So that lets you know how old I am. So I've been coming to Honduras, I guess, for 26 years in June. So, and I missed a year. I missed the year my dad died. I didn't come that year. And then during COVID, we were technically living there. So we came back after COVID started. Yeah. But, and then it was only 4 months and I was back in Honduras again. So I'm hoping the first week of July. If not, we'll have to put the container's arrival off until after we get here.
So either early July or around later July or August.
Yeah, we'll just pay storage and they'll hold it in the bodega in North Carolina. And he's pretty easy to work with. I tell him that it's a mission trip that's holding us up, and I think he'll be fine with that. But finding a lot of people to unload it, and it's not something I want done while I'm not here. I like being here. Everything has its place, and I don't want to throw all that on my son Jonathan and he's already going to have to miss work and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So.
And it's not like you can just move stuff around pretty easily.
Yeah, it's just dead weight. It's hard to move, and we're hoping to have around 200 bags. Some of that will be Anna's, some will be Santos. So this is a lot of coffee to get unloaded in 2 hours, and then it'll take another 3 hours to organize it. Once it's off we just drag it off. We throw a pallet inside the back of the truck, stack it with specific coffees. Then we load that on our 2 gooseneck trailers so that the 18-wheeler can get out of here. And then from then on, we just fork it and bring it to the shipping container and
organize it
and stack it. Yeah. But the second, it's made out of 2x4s, and the second level is 4.5 feet tall. So it's tough to throw that coffee up there and stack it 4 high.
Yeah.
And so it's a job for the young. But so we're sometime in July, the green will be here. We still have some green on the website, and it just happens to be some of our best. The natural is like an 88-point coffee. The Perry Name that's on there is an 88-point coffee. And we've got 2 86s that are on the website. We're running almost out of wash, so we're pulling that. And then I'll probably pull the red honey at the end of the week. And so if you're needing some of that, let me know. And it might be where I can reserve some. If somebody wants to just put their name on it, I can hold some back. But we've got enough to get us through as far as roasted coffee sales go. But we can't sell too much of it green, or we'll be in trouble.
Yeah. Also on the mission trip, it'll be the 10th year since our entire family moved down there. So yes, pretty big thing.
And there's some kind of, sorry guys, I'm eating supper. There's some other kind of date that's important during that time. I can't remember though.
Yeah.
Eli, when we moved to Honduras, he was 3 years old. And the day after we moved to Honduras, he turned 4. So he spent about 6.5 years there. But since COVID, we've been bouncing. But he'll celebrate his 14th birthday. And then it will be the 25th trip of the team that's going to be down there, and the 10th anniversary of when we moved to the farm. March is the 10th anniversary of when I technically bought the farm. And then
crazy.
March is also the 14th anniversary of when I bought the first farm.
Man.
You'll have to talk for a minute while I chew my supper.
Also, on the topic sheet wrote, we were thinking about maybe starting up another podcast. This one is Legacy Farms Coffee Podcast, and you guys would like to see that. We're thinking about starting up the Legacy Farms or LF Missions podcast.
It will be soon Legacy Farms, yeah.
Yeah, another topic. But LF Missions podcast. So we can talk more about the farm and about the missions on that side, and we'll keep the coffee more on this side. So we can do a lot more in-depth on coffee here, and then we can talk a lot more about the mission side of the farm on the new podcast.
Yeah, and there's a lot of podcast formats or podcasts that I could go on that would air my podcast for the religious side.
Thanks, Richard.
Yeah, Richard, it was your question that I was answering about when the coffee is going to come in. And we're hoping this year, my goal was to have it in June, but I don't know. I'll have to physically call Anna. Lots lost in translation. And so I'll physically call her tomorrow and find out. I'll get a list of exactly how many lots are finished. But if we could finish the coffee up in 2 weeks, I could have it on a container in 3 weeks.
Wow. So
I could schedule the container pretty close. But
so we can get it here in June, July.
Yeah. And so that's what I'm hoping for. Today being the 28th. Yeah, May is pretty much spent.
Yeah.
But still, if we could ship it on the 3rd week of July or the 3rd week of June, it would definitely be here that first week. And I'd love to unload it before we headed out.
Yeah.
So, and that's something, once I find that out tomorrow, then we're going to buy our ticket for July, because that's, we're going to do a few days ahead of the mission team, or we could do a few days behind the mission team. But I would rather do it ahead of the team.
Yeah.
We have a couple one little trip. We're wanting to actually go to the rainforest. I've never been to the rainforest in Honduras.
It's a rainforest, or is it like a
sort of like a rainforest jungle?
It's called Catacamas.
Yeah, Catacamas. It's down in there, but it's sort of in the center part of Honduras. I'll have to, before I call it rainforest, I'll have to look it up a little bit better. But I know it's like a jungle and stuff there. And I'm hoping to see a spider monkey.
Yeah, he wants a spider monkey.
I want a spider monkey.
Why?
I'd like to have one on the back porch and call him Peppy. It'd be my spider monkey.
Why?
But
Why?
when the group is here, we're going to either go to the caves, or we might go to one of the Central America's largest zip lines.
That sounds slightly dangerous.
300 feet, and I think it's almost a kilometer long. So that's quite the zip line. And they have a one where you can ride a bicycle over it. There's a counterbalance bicycle, and you drive it over there. I think
sounds very
they're fairly
dangerous.
safe, and they're only about 3 years old. They hadn't had time to rust real good, so I might actually do one that trip.
Really?
Not sure yet.
I'll take the bike, honestly.
According to how I think the bike, I would feel more like I was falling, but I'm not sure.
Well, you could actually, like, if you're holding on to there, you just let go. Or do they have you strapped in?
No, you're strapped. The bike is
Okay.
strapped there, and you're strapped there.
Not the bike. I meant just holding on.
Oh yeah, there's one that you hold on to the little bar, but you sit in like a little strap.
Okay.
Thing. So you couldn't jump out without a lot of effort, and so
Yeah.
you for sure couldn't fall.
Okay, I'm
But
doing
the
that.
line could snap. But there's actually 2 lines, and so you're
Both lines
tied
could
to,
snap.
you're tied to both of them. So I think it's fairly safe. But
I'll still
you
take
know,
the bike. That's
some of the sketchy things we've seen in Honduras, it's a little hard to believe, when you
Yeah.
say safe. But when we leave there, we're going to ride out with the group, and we're going to have to we'll be on the bus with the group. And I don't like riding on buses in Honduras, but it's a private bus that I'm paying for, so I think
Are we
they'll
good?
drive.
Who are we getting to be the driver?
That guy Vargas, that's
Oh, cool.
in Comiagua.
I just wonder if you were gonna get
No, that would be a Baxter driver, but
Yeah.
it might work out where we could do that too. Yeah, I'd love it if we could get my guy from Baxter to do it, because that would be awesome. But in July, they'll be pretty busy with
That's
mission
true.
teams
Yeah.
too. So, and we
He's
just
a really
stole
nice
this
guy, though.
mission team from them.
Yeah, so
They've
maybe not the
gone-
best idea.
Yeah, they've gone through them for 25 years, and now, so
So yeah, let's
he
not
might
do
he
that.
might be happy. So. I hope not. It's all about missions. So that's what we're doing there. As far as on the farm goes, I tried printing off some new, the last of the samples that came in, or the last of the analysis that came in. Oh, I skipped something. We've got a nonprofit, but somebody else sort of runs it for us. And so, and it's out of Oklahoma. And so we're getting ready by the end of this year. We're going to have our own nonprofit. Technically, the nonprofit is LF Missions, which stands for Legacy Farms.
But we're actually gonna put it in writing.
Right. And this one will actually we'll shut down the Oklahoma one at the end of the year, and we'll start the Kansas one. And I've asked a couple of you guys if you'd be on the board. So everybody I've sent an email to, be thinking about that, because I need to know probably in the next 2 weeks whether we can put your name on there as board of directors. And some people will be asked to be what's called non-voting board of directors, and or non-voting board members. And basically what that means is you're in a position where you either know coffee, or missions, or you're with a church, and we definitely need guidance. And they would be sort of like our elders or something to guide us. And then the voting members are going to be more in the day-to-day operation of things, and they would have contact with me, as well as Anna and the guys actually own the farm doing the work. So they will be, everybody that's a board member has been to Honduras. This is a voting board member will have been to Honduras and things like that. So there's 2 guys that I'm going to ask that haven't been yet, and we're going to put together a trip in September and zip down there. They'll come down for about 4 days or longer if they want, and I'll be there for 2 weeks. Hopefully I'll have somebody that might want to ride up there with me and skip school for those 2 weeks, but or make it 10 days or whatever we need to. But that's the biggest news we have. And then we're waiting to see if Eli could be a board member or a treasurer, to see what the ages are on that in Kansas. In Oklahoma, he wasn't able to be. So the secretary and the treasurer are my son, Jonathan. They thought it was funny to make her president, and then they made me vice president, which seemed like all fun and games. But then when I went to start a banking account and stuff in Honduras under that name, they said, well, only the president can do that. And so they wouldn't let me start a bank account. And so we weren't able to do anything. And when Julie was there back in January, I knew I was going to do a new nonprofit, so I didn't even bother with it. So we just have a second bank account there that coincides with the books that say LF Missions in Honduras. And so we'll start it all from scratch. And then I'm hoping that my kids will vote me as president so that I can be president on this next round. And then we'll get things a little more straightforward there. We have to really be careful with the money because technically there's the classroom project that somebody started and they sort of walked away from. And so now we're having to figure out how to finish that up. And then there's the main project that has never been completely finished. So we're like 7,000 short on the classroom. We're 15,000 short of finishing the main project. And then once those things are done, the beauty of Honduras is labor is pretty cheap. And so we can pay really well and have good people working for us. And we could do all the projects we want to do for $1,000 a month. And so, the next step is we're looking for people that will support the library for an extra day a week. And that's $40, I think, is what the librarian charges. And then that includes about $4 a week for materials. So, that's cheap enough. But for $1,000 a month, we could do all of our projects and run the church and everything, library, everything for $1,000 a month. As far as nonprofits go, that's pretty good.
And we'll also be using some of that money to keep working on the church and.
Yeah. Well, the $1,000, what it would be, it's $100 a month in there of that $1,000 is general upkeep to pay the water, pay the light. They break chairs, and so the reason the classroom budget was so expensive was I put metal chairs in the budget because we're running out of chairs. I think we're down to 15 chairs from 30 or something, more than 30. Wow. And it's because, they just break. They're cheap chairs and they get broken. And so we're going to start replacing everything. And we're going to build pews out of wood. And so that'll help with that too. And so that's sort of what's going on the mission side. We've got another group that's thinking about coming up from Oregon, but haven't decided exactly what they want to do. But they're still great supporters. They send us some checks from here and there. And
do we have another church?
We have Troy Yard and his church sends some, and then Chad Batten's church. He's an elder there. Their church out of Tennessee sends some, and that's what's supporting us right now. But once that building is finished and we're able to add on the other projects and keep the library open, and the library won't be just books. It's going to be after school tutoring program and things like that.
Maybe even some English.
Yeah, some of the kids are wanting to learn English. If they're on a college track, which very few of them would be, but either on a college track or they have an in to get into some of the coffee places in Marcala, which is close to us. So if they learned English, they could get a job there just because the Japanese buyers, the German buyers, and of course the American buyers, they all speak English. And so I haven't met anybody yet from Japan, Germany, or Taiwan that didn't speak perfect English.
It's just a good trait.
Well, those, I think in their school systems, they teach that. And so, if we could teach English, that would be great. And the local English is the second language place in Heston just donated us about 40 or 50 books.
Oh, yeah.
Kids' books, but still. And then dictionaries, stuff like that.
Ooh,
and dictionaries are something we can always use.
Oh, yeah.
Or the bilingual kids' books, because even adults can learn quite a bit.
Or if they have the bilingual Britannica, that'd be pretty fun.
Mm-hmm. Or anything about auto mechanics or motorcycle mechanics, plumbing, definitely. Electrical that's in Spanish.
Oh, that would be very.
Yeah, I'd love to have some of those. And then if I had that, I would teach a class. I would take the book apart and copy it and make a bunch of bootleg copies and do that.
Hi.
Hi, Miss Mildred. How are you doing?
Yes, what was Meridian doing?
Meridian? I'm not sure. She works for a nonprofit somewhere.
No, Meridian. Church name?
The one we go to?
Yeah.
As far as the project goes?
Yeah.
Well, they haven't done anything with it yet. Yeah. But the preacher is the one that I've asked to be a board member, and we're talking about him coming in September. So, and we're trying to get any churches from anywhere. Right now, we have a church in Texas and a church in Tennessee that support us. So we're trying to get Sunday school classes, anybody that will do a day, if it's a day a week or a day a month, $40 a month will pay the librarian for one day. And so that's what we're hoping for. Or if you just want to break out the checkbook and write $1,000 a month, you can run that entire project. Yeah. We'll make you king of Cerro Bueno. That'd be good.
Yeah.
Right now I'm king, but I'd give up my throne if I could. But as far as the coffee goes, we've got a new variety called Julia's Joe. That's named after my wife.
And a new flavor.
Ginger snap and warm vanilla rum. And so that's French vanilla and rum popo. And that it smells great. I haven't tried them yet. But then the ginger snap is more of a pumpkin-y, spicy kind of a coffee. So those are the 3 new coffees that we've got this month. And if you watch the podcast or tag us or anything like that.
Also, if you have any ideas for other blends or especially flavored blends, if you guys have any ideas, we can maybe try some of those out.
Yeah, the company we buy flavors from, we can ask every 2 months. I think they let us get a couple ounces of different flavors. So we can just call them up and order 2 ounces. We'll do probably 8 pounds of coffee, of flavored coffee. So we can get samples for free, and we could make up something if you've had it somewhere before. We'll be glad to work something out if you want to try a new sample. But on the farm right now, they've pulled soil samples. They're starting to fertilize. I think they started Monday fertilizing. Or no, this coming Monday, they'll start fertilizing. So we're not organic in the sense that we do use fertilizer, but we don't use herbicides, pesticides, insecticides, or any of the bad.
All the sides.
Mm-hmm. And for anybody that doesn't know, this is my youngest son, Eli. He is my marketing genius. And he's taller than me. So win-win. Definitely younger than me. But yeah, we're looking at having a fairly decent year. We had a lot of bad lots. We had more bad lots this year than in the entire history of the farm combined. And so, and we're selling that. We jokingly say we're selling it to Folgers, but we're selling it to what's called a sub-commodity buyer.
Isn't that what Folgers is?
Yeah. And it'll be heavily flavored and all that, and then sold.
So it could be Starbucks too?
No. Starbucks buys good coffee. They just don't buy specialty grade coffee. And so if anybody wants to see a cupping score or whatever, then Starbucks would buy something in the 70, 75 range as far as points, which is good coffee or passable, stuff like that.
But not what we have?
No, not specialty grade coffee. And the reason being is they're going to put in cinnamons and spices and sugar and milk. And you don't want to take a high grade coffee. You wouldn't want to take a 90-point coffee and do that to it, because you would hide all those natural flavors. You would hide what gave it that 85 points or 90 points. So it just makes sense. And that's, like I said earlier in the program, we're going to buy some Brazilian washed coffee. It'll be like a 74 to 76 point coffee, which is good coffee. And then we're going to use that, because I can go and buy coffee. We'll be buying this coffee for roughly half what I could grow it and ship it here for. So that's what we're going to start flavoring with, because in years past, we can, on your next order, Mr. Richards, let us know, and I'll put you, if you want to flavor it yourself, or I can send her some of the roasted coffee and let her try it. She could be my test dummy. And so, and your wife sent me a cup, and no, I think my wife stole it. Yeah. And so, yeah, that's part of being married. But, and I love it.
Cup collection.
I love it. And the thing keeps the coffee good and hot. And I love it. And so
that makes them happy.
I sure do appreciate that. And I like the color of it. And I really like the shape of it. I'm sort of weird about, I don't like I've got a couple of coffee cups that don't have handles on. And so that's one of my, grab that it's bottom second from the left. Hey, E. Second from the left right there. this is one of my favorite cups, and it doesn't have a handle on it. And I've been to like some villages, like in Catacamas and in some of these villages, and they'll like hold the cup like this, and they just drink from the cup, palm up like that, or whatever you would call that. And so it's sort of fun, and I sort of got used to. I did what they were doing, and I sort of enjoy that. And then I'll tend to do that same thing with my cups. I'll drink like that, and I like tiny cups. But I love the fact that it didn't have a handle on it.
Yeah, but actually, like up on this, I think we have like a tiny collection.
Oh yeah, I have a cup collection, and I'm going to thin it out a little bit, and so I'm gonna give away some of them. These are some pretty cool cups. There's like a little cup and saucer set, and it doesn't have like a hole here. It just it's solid, and you just sort of put your
it like this.
thumb and finger on it, and matching saucer. We're gonna start giving some different ones away of the smaller cups. I'm sorry I'm moving so much.
So maybe you're gonna be a lucky winner.
There you go. And I don't know if you guys have an idea or suggestion on different types of giveaways.
Maybe
we'll
we could
anything.
do like a winner giveaway. We can do a giveaway, and the winner gets their own coffee flavor or.
Yeah, and if you guys ever want, the roasters that are watching, if you ever want me to send you a sample, or you can look on my website and see what coffees I offer flavored. If you guys ever want to experiment with flavored, I can always pour out an ounce or two or something and send with you. But I think what I was thinking of on the giveaway was a dollar amount. And like Miss Mildred would drink coffee versus Mr. Richard's going to do green coffee and roast it himself. So you just get that dollar value in whatever coffee you wanted. And so, and then I often squeeze a coffee cup in if the shipping will let me, will allow. I sent two things today. I sent 6 pounds of coffee to California, and it cost $10.32 for 6 pounds. And then I sent 12 pounds to Texas, and it cost $8.
Wow.
And so
wow. So 2 pound difference for two.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And it's just the distance it's going and things like that. And the flat rate shipping on it for a soft package was $9.30. And it was just $10.20. And I was able to, throw in a coffee cup in there because the weight didn't hurt it. So it's weird. Shipping's weird. And so a lot of guys will ask me for a burlap sack, but a burlap sack takes up room and it's going to kick me into a larger box size. And so if I give somebody a free burlap sack, it might cost me $6 just to ship it to them.
Wow.
So
the burlap sack alone, or?
Well, because it puts you in a bigger box, which costs more, and it adds almost a pound of weight. And so, it'll kick you up in money.
That's crazy.
But a lot of times there was a guy that ordered 24 pounds the other day. And I said, if you'll order 20 instead of 24, I can get a burlap in there. So I stuck him a burlap in, and he orders every month. And so I said, just next month order,
28,
28 or something. And then it'll have to be shipped UPS. Anything over about 24 pounds pretty much has to go UPS. Yeah. It's just crazy. It's an art learning the shipping cycle. But back to the farm. We're going to have in the 2025 crop, our Robusta is looking pretty good. Our Geisha is looking pretty good. It cupped an 85 the first time we've ever picked it. 85 is good. And I'm going to have just a couple of pounds of the Geisha. I'm gonna step out of frame, and I have my inventory, I think, that I just printed off.
Well,
Sing him a song, Eli.
No. Why do you do this to me? I'm the only one who helps you.
I'll sing him a song.
No, thank you.
We take requests. Row your boat's my favorite. Geisha, I have. I'm probably gonna have like 12 pounds of Geisha this year, and the Mario Hipe, which is what I got 4th place last year with. I'm gonna have. Well, they didn't mark it down
last year,
but I'm gonna have 40 pounds of a natural Mario Hipe that cupped 87.5. So those will be the two unusual crops that I have. I'm not sure. She didn't write down how much Robusta, but it's going to be precious little Robusta this year because we used most all the coffee for seeds to replant.
So then, maybe that could be the
you could always ask for that,
or just win it or something. Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah, and a little gift thing. But I think we're going to start something June the 1st, and normally we've done a drawing, but we just didn't do anything last year.
Yeah.
Normally we do a drawing once or twice a year, and we just pull everybody out of the hat that's ordered coffee that month. And if you ordered 2 different orders, you get your name put in there once for each order.
So maybe starting June, end of June, we can do the hat drawing. Every time you order, you get a name in the hat, and we'll just.
And I'm thinking if we're doing green coffee, we'll go $100, $150, something like that.
Oh, that'll be nice.
Yeah. And we'll just make a giant bag of, I'll figure out what the shipping is so that we can throw in a burlap. And we're going to get ready to do some printing, and we're going to try to get some custom bags made for some of the roasters out there. But next year's crop will have quite a bit more of the Maruhipa Geisha, and the variety is called Julia, and that's the Robusta. And it's got a pretty good flavor and twice the caffeine of regular coffee. So I like it.
So in a couple,
I like it.
1 or 2 years, it'll be in full production.
In 2 more years, we should have probably half an acre
in full production, and then
we'll
have
in full production.
And then by that time, we'll have some also some coffee and doing a little production as well.
Mm-hmm. And then we've got some contracts out, verbal contracts, where next year we're going to have a variety called Sargimore. Okay. Oh no, the Perinema and the Marciesa, that's going to be our new up and coming crop. They're just cupping like crazy, 86, 87s, 88s. And so those coffees are, we're planting an extra 4,000 plants of each one of those this year. So yeah, they'll be in big production.
And also this year, didn't we get an award for one of them in the Coffee Fest?
Both our Marciesa and our Perinema were our 2 placements in the Marcala Coffee Fest.
Wasn't it like 12th or something?
We got 7th and 12th this year. No, yeah.
This year is 7th and 12th.
Yeah, it's 125 farmers. Each farmer could put in up to 3 samples, and everybody did, but me. I don't know. I just had 2 coffees I really liked, and so I just put in 2. But it was over 300, samples were set in, and we got 7th place and 12th place. Last year we got 4th place and 15th place. So overall, I think mathematically, we did as good or better this year.
We got 2 comments.
Oh, Robusta doesn't score.
Really? It doesn't score well?
No. They don't have competitions for Robusta. Robusta very seldom scores in the mid 70s and it's very, very seldom you get a Robusta that's specialty grade coffee. They're a harsh coffee. And that's why we're so excited about ours, is because it tastes pretty good. So it's definitely a mid 70 Robusta that we have.
That's really great.
And I just would have bought it on a whim, but I bought 8 plants in El Salvador about 10 years ago.
And we only had 1 left.
7 of them died, and some knucklehead this year cut the one down that's been sitting in that one spot right behind my blue truck. It's been there for 8 years, 9 years.
And that was Julia.
Then the other day, he just cut it down. So Pedro cut it down. So may have to beat him with that tree stump or whatever. But luckily, we've got a bunch of seeds off of it. And I've got another 250 plants, Robusta, that are coming up in the nursery.
And where are they going to be planted on the farm?
I'm not sure. They're already planted, but I don't know where they are. I haven't been out to look at them. The 2 weeks that I was there on the farm this month, I didn't get a chance to go out on the farm at all. I didn't get past the house any at all. I was just there working.
What's a lie? We can find that out.
I did 16, 18-hour days. Didn't go out to eat, didn't do anything.
He did not have a good time, apparently.
Yeah, Andrew, if you're talking about the Perry name and the Marciesa, we blended those two to make our roasted variety called Julia's Joe.
Oh, that's going to be good.
For those that know Julia, Julia's name is Julia Joe, J-O. And so we just call it Julia's Joe, J-O-E. That's her little brand. Eli has Eli Mountain. Jonathan has Johnny's Java. And so.
And you have Don Ashley.
Oh, and I have Don Ashley.
So everybody's got their own thing.
But anyway, Dana, I got Hideo to come back to the farm. And so we were going to have his coffee whether he worked there or not. But he's very childlike and he gets his feelings hurt and gets mad. So he went and worked somewhere else for 3 months to spite me, And it hurt us. It hurt us bad because he quit the day we started selecting coffee. And for the last 3 years, the last 3 seasons, he's been the one that dehulls the coffee, keeps Anna's room full of coffee. And so why are we bringing in the Robusta? Because it is a good tasting Robusta. It's not specialty grade, but it's a good enough coffee that you could drink it as a standalone. And it'll double the caffeine as a regular coffee. And that's why most of the time a barista or the coffee shop owner is going to have a blended espresso. It's going to be half Robusta and then something really flavorful to cover up the harshness of the Robusta. I have one that's not going to work that great, I don't think, in the espresso, but I'll have to run it through my machine and see. So far, it's been my personal coffee. I've never sold any of it. I keep that for me. The same thing with the Maro Heaping, the Geisha. Those are all my coffees that I drink. And this year we'll start selling some of those.
But when we do have enough Robusta, I think, are we going to bring out, what was the?
We'll sell the Robusta most likely as a roasted coffee.
What was the name? You came up with
the Robusta?
Yeah, what were we going to call it?
Well, it's Julia.
No, I meant store name. They said half and a half.
Well, we're going to, once we get the Robusta going, we'll have 2 blends out of it. The Robusta itself is going to be called double calf. And then when we blend it with another one, we're going to call it calf and a half because it'll have half again as much caffeine as regular coffee does. Yeah, Robusta doesn't taste that great, but the beauty of it is it's got twice the caffeine. So I'm hoping within the next 5 years that we can get up to about 10 to 12,000 Robusta plants, and that'll be roughly 10% of the farm will be in Robusta. Honduras is not known for growing Robusta, and so it's
what place is known for growing Robusta?
El Salvador, and then a lot of the Asian countries.
Oh, well, that makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah, and I don't know. I dumped out a pound of coffee the other day, and I almost think, now that I think about it, I think that might have been my Robusta. I'm not sure what's in that burlap right there, but it's that's Mario Hipe.
Oh.
What about the 2 little sacks? I'm pretty sure I've got some here. If I do, I'll put it in my sample roaster.
So I think this is a Mario Hipe or Marciesa.
No, this one's a washed Marciesa.
I think we got a Julia.
Yeah, this might be that might be the Robusta. I'll double check the code number on it. And if it is, I'll roast some and send you enough to make a half a dozen cups with. But yeah, we're excited about the Robusta because I've been drinking it for a couple of years and I like it. And you can definitely tell, hair stands up on the back of your neck, and it's definitely got more caffeine in it. Because generally caffeine doesn't bother me that much. So you can make a good espresso shot with that. Yeah. But I'm super excited about Hideo coming back to the farm. I told him if he wanted to come back, I wouldn't change his pay because his pay was from a manager. And so he'll still get manager's pay, but then he's just not going to won't have keys, won't have access to the large bank funds for loans and things like that.
And probably not any guarding.
No, he won't be guarding for a while. We're going to have to get his head back in the game before because guarding's a big responsibility. I need to know what's going on, but Yeah, I mean, his pay went down by a third when he left the farm, or went down to a third of what he was making when he left the farm. But he got mad, and so that it is what it is. I think his wife had a big influence on getting him to come back, because I went and talked to her one day, and she showed me a wrecked motorcycle, and that's what he got mad about. I wouldn't loan him money to buy a motorcycle, and it is, just to be straight, it's my money, and so I make decisions on what it is, and when it's a big purchase like buying a motorcycle, I've got to weigh how much he makes, how diligent he is about paying back, which he's not one of the best. There are other people worse. And then what is it? How's that going to help them? Is that going to help them financially? And the goal has always been on the farm is, if I die tomorrow, that they will be better off than they were before they met me, and they're going to be able to continue that. And so that's why we did a barbershop for Bahidio and a corn grinder for Bahidio. So that if I die tomorrow, he can still keep doing those things. But I don't want him to be tied down with the motorcycle payment, and then he loses his job on my farm, and he can't make the motorcycle payment. But the other downside to buying a motorcycle is if you wreck it, and if every penny of your money is going to pay for the motorcycle, and you can't fix the motorcycle, and that's the predicament he's in right now.
Yeah.
And how angry you could possibly make your wife, that is how angry his wife is. And she didn't want him to have the motorcycle. She told me that she was happy when I told him he couldn't have the loan, but he did nothing but badmouth me and mumble and grumble. And most of the workers came to me and said he was badmouthing me. He was mad at me because I wouldn't give him the loan. But that was exactly what I told him. He took off 4 days from work and said that he hurt his back moving my coffee, when in reality, he had a motorcycle wreck and got hurt on the motorcycle wreck. And that's why he stayed home, because that's what his wife told us. So he's still paying on that motorcycle. And so all the money from his coffee went to, pay off that motorcycle. So, and then from the next couple months, all the money he makes is going to go to repair it and hopefully sell it. But you never know. You never know. But in the same month that he bought the motorcycle and wrecked it, Miguel's daughter was on a motorcycle and had a wreck and had pins put in her legs.
And a son
in the same week had a wreck on his motorcycle, had to have his leg pinned back together. They're both taking their physical therapy for the next 6 months. Ronnie had to have 6 pins put in his leg. He'll never be able to move coffee. He's never going to be able to do the work that he was able to do. And he's 17. And his dad bought him a motorcycle because they make money and have a lot of money. And so he bought a motorcycle, gave it to his son. And now his son's basically somewhat crippled for life. And in Honduras, if you're Honduran and you work in a coffee village, it is very important that you can move coffee, or at least go out and pick coffee. He can't even do that. And so he can't carry those heavy bags anymore. So it is what it is, and you can only do so much. Anybody that's on, we've got a bunch of people on tonight. I want to give a shout out if you guys roast coffee and sell it or anything like that. And Dana, I think everybody can see your comments. If you've got a website or something, just pop it up there. And
you too, Richard, if you have one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Mr. Richard's just doing it for fun right now, friends and family. But if he sells any of it, put your Facebook or whatever up there, and we'll help sell some of Mr. Richard's, or anybody that wants to do that is always welcome to do it. But we definitely have a lot of higher scores this year on the coffee. We've got a bunch of 87s, 88s, things like that.
That's really good.
Didn't get an 89 this year. I think we got an 88 1/4. But I'm tickled.
88 1/4, really?
Yeah. One of our coffees there, when you get into a competition style judging, the 2 coffees that won 7th place and won 12th place this year, my 7th place coffee, and pay attention to the numbers, was 87.5 was the 7th place coffee. The 12th place coffee was 87.05. And the judging was so strict the highest score, the first place coffee was 88.16.
That's just crazy.
Yeah. So we were 0.61 points from tying with first place. And so it was a very strict, international styled judging. So we were just thrilled about those scores.
So yeah, so we got placed in Marcala Coffee Fest 2 years running now.
Yeah.
Top 10 2 years running.
Yeah. And so we're hoping to keep the streak.
Hoping to get third or top 3 next year. Top 5.
That would be awesome. Yeah. I'd definitely like to stay in that top 10, but man, I mean, of course, who wouldn't say first place wouldn't be amazing?
That would be very much amazing, especially since they made a big deal of us getting 4th place.
Yeah. And they said we were the first North Americans or non-Hondurans that had ever won, because they placed through 25th place or 20th place. They placed the 20, but only the top 10 get called to come up on stage and all that. And so something happened this year to why at the last minute they canceled the whole stage event. Because this year we went to the event, but they didn't have the public. The public wasn't in there. So I'm not exactly sure what happened.
Yeah.
Because when we showed up, there's nothing really going on.
And then there was a mariachi band.
Yeah, there was a mariachi band they're playing instead of what they did. So something happened. So I don't know if a couple people got COVID or what. But yeah, last year's event was quite a bit more. Well, you weren't there this year, or were you there?
I wasn't there.
Huh?
I was there. I stayed with you the extra couple weeks. We went to Copan.
Okay, there we go. Part of getting old.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And anybody didn't hear, we had a pretty cool trip to Copan.
That was fun.
We just Eli's my trip planner and said, "What are we going to do this week?" And that was on I think a Monday, and then Wednesday I think we were in the car driving down there Thursday, and we drove down. It was like 7 hours. We left at like 5 in the morning. So we were there about lunchtime, got checked in the hotel, ate, went and farted around town, took a nap, and then we're near the big main court square of Copan. And so
that was amazing. We went to the ruins. That was super fun.
Yeah. Most of the day was just sort of touristy stuff. And we were hours at the Copan ruins, which is amazing.
Bring extra water if you ever go.
Yeah, definitely bring water. Because you go all the way in there and there's nowhere to buy water. But there are, what are those big birds?
Macaws.
Those macaws are everywhere. They're just flying around everywhere inside the ruins.
And then we went to the macaw sanctuary.
The next day we did. But if I've ever sent you guys a 1 lempira bill that said thank you, that the Copan ruins, that's what's on that $1 1 lempira bill that I've sent you.
It was crazy.
But the macaw sanctuary was, if we could have just done one or the other, those were equal.
Yeah.
Other than I didn't walk myself to death at the macaw.
I almost died of heat exhaustion.
But yeah, we were getting worn out and hot there towards the end. But it was an amazing trip. We really had a great time.
First cold brew of the year.
I'm not a very good maker of the cold brew. I've never mastered it. Julia is in charge of cold brew, and she makes a really nice cold brew. And I've got a copy of her recipe. It's pretty basic. No, that's okay. If anybody wants it, we're out of them. You'd have to look it up on the computer.
This is a computer.
But we're trying to do more of the cold brew stuff. And then in June, we're going to start selling the Barraza grinders online. We're going to start selling the Simply Good coffee makers, which is sort of a semi pour over automated coffee maker. It's like the Mocha Master. It's on the same design as the Mocha Master.
Is that right up there?
No.
That's a different.
That's just a plain V60 pour over.
Oh,
this is where you put the coffee in, you put the water in, and it brews it all. Oh. But it steeps it and all that. And so it does it specific temperatures, and so I like that. Yeah, the 2024 will be here soon. I think I got about 4 samples this size that I brought back of the 2024 stuff. Some of it is Santos's. I brought back some of his samples. I'm going to shoot over to Jose over in Texas. But, excuse me. So, but yeah, you guys let me know. Y'all can PM me or whatever if Friday is a better night to do the podcast or Tuesday night, because we're going to start doing a strict schedule of either 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock, whatever works out best for everybody. And then what day, be it Friday or be it Tuesday, would work out best for everybody. Then we'll have them. And then we'll probably switch it around, whichever the roasted people like. Then I'll do the missions podcast the other time, and then we'll be starting a web page and all for the mission thing. We have one now, but we don't do a lot on it. I'll have to look at them. I think the Encore is like $229. That's what I'm thinking, and then the Virtuoso is in that $300 range. And I'm going to start out selling the ones that I have. And I own the Virtuoso, the Encore, and then whatever the model is above the Virtuoso, I upgraded to that one. They're all in Honduras.
Oh.
But we worked the snot out of them in Honduras.
Yeah.
And I've had the same ones for a long time. And I really like them. They're good grinders. And they'd be great for a home roaster or somebody selling just a little bit. But ultimately, when you make that move from home roaster into farmer's market and all that, you're going to have to go with a bun. And you're going to be anywhere from $300 to $500 to buy a good used bun, GH2. We've got 3 of the GH3 bun. No, 3 or 4. 3 of the GH3 bun grinders.
One of them's different.
They're still GH3. It's sort of the category. And then the others are those German grinders, which are pretty pricey.
Malcolm?
Yeah, Malcolm or something like that. And they have those in a GH2, GH3, and
then we got the
EK43s, and those things are crazy nice.
Man, that is
30
so
pounds
fast.
Every 9 minutes. So, and it's all very uniform, very nice. But I'm not sure what kind of grinder everybody has, but we are going to be talking about grinders on one of the podcasts, but just not tonight. So I promised I was going to keep it under an hour, and I think if we wrap this sucker up, we're at 52 minutes. And so I'll finish my supper, and I am gutting the roaster tomorrow, and I've got 2 sets of these 32 tip heads. We're going to be putting those bad boys in the roaster, and we're going to kick that bad boy up to 200,000 BTU and see what happens. So this may be our last episode
in this building. This is probably going to burn down,
or on this earth. And so we've been struggling with the roaster. I want to be, the more I learn, the more I know exactly how important those profiles are. And then now that I'm getting into, the first 2 years I roasted, our coffees were 83, 84, and we were just jumping up and down. We got an 85. And now we're getting those same coffees, 86s, 87s, 88s, 89 even. And 89.25 if you want to be exact.
Have we ever gotten 90?
Never. Well, he said, I can tell you if this coffee that's 89.25, if you'd have done it in a wash, he said, I bet it would have been a 90. But we had already drank what little wash we had done that year. So I didn't have any samples.
So if you just sit in, we would have had a 90.
I could have, would have, could have, should have, or something. But getting the score is great. Keeping it is the hard part. But and so last year, the machine came with like a soft, flexible gas line that went straight from the propane tank in here. And the heads that we had 3 years ago ran off of PSI. And basically, they turn the switch and turn the gas wide open. They throw it in. When it hits second crack, they dump it. And whatever roast profile is determined by how much coffee you put in. So the curve is slower with 50 pounds and it's faster with 12. And so we did a lot of modifications on it with air control. We put in a needle valve. And then 2 years ago, I swapped everything to inches of water column. And then I did a really nice, like a $50 needle valve. And so you can really, really change that temperature, really sensitive, and you can raise it a 1/2 inch of water column.
Go.
All right, cool. I'll be in a few minutes, man. Thanks for coming on. It's a whole lot more fun with Eli. I wish he wasn't so dang shy.
Dumbest point. I'm not shy.
It's the 9 inches of water column really made a difference. And so then I replumbed everything with 1/2 inch rigid pipe, and that made a big difference. It went up from 9.75 inches of water column all the way to 12 inches of water column. So that gave me a lot more control. And so last night I just ordered all the parts in 3/4 inch. So I'm moving everything, needle valve, everything up to 3/4 inch. And I ordered these two. I couldn't find the configuration because I have a 22-inch drum. I couldn't find that. So these things are 10 inches a piece. So it's roughly going to cover 20 inches. So I'm going to have to either block off a few of the jets or, but I mean, they're pointed in. Let me see if you guys, so there's nothing pointed straight up. I didn't want it shooting past the drum and actually coming into where the beams were. So these all have an angle on the tips, except, so we'll just have to see these center ones that are pointed outward. We'll just have to see how much and how far they fly. But I feel like 150,000 BTU is the max that I would ever use. But you have the potential. And so you could run that curve up. It's not going up as fast as you wanted to. You could bump it up a little bit. And we're just going to give it a try. And I think with that extra BTU, we can give it that push at the end, then shut it off and let the momentum push it on through first crack. Because I very seldom ever go to second crack. I do some on Dana's coffee, and there's a couple other people that want a little bit of a darker coffee. And so, I use it for that. But I'm going to take all the other stuff out in one piece. And so if I have to switch back to all the 1/2 inch stuff, then I can actually switch it back over if I need to and put the old burners back in. But by tomorrow night, I should have my setup in, and then I'll do my first roast on Thursday morning. That's what the hope is. But guys, thanks. Please share us with people that you know that think anything we say might be interesting, funny, or anything like that. And we will be back again next Tuesday night. Thanks, everybody. And we'll see you again on Tuesday. Thanks a lot. Good night.